Hey guys, it is Mike. It is Sunday, but you're going to get my First Watch Friday reviews today because I just, for some reason, could not get the video to upload, so I had to start all over. I don't know, I didn't do anything different, but it would not go onto YouTube, so I'm over it. And you're getting a threefer because I actually watched three new movies this weekend, all of which, two of which were horror pack exclusives. And then the one that I started with the whole thing by watching on Friday was Countdown. Countdown is a 2020 horror movie. It really doesn't star anybody anybody's going to know. It was a fun little movie. It's nothing that will revolutionize the world of horror. It kind of goes along with the whole Final Destination, um, stay alive kind of vibe. So what this movie is, it starts out with a group of kids at a party, and they are all downloading this app called Countdown, which will tell you when you are going to die. Now, the majority of the kids get, ages up in the 70s and 80s and 90s, but our girl Courtney, she's only got a few hours, and they're at a party, and she's like kind of flipping out about it. And to make matters worse, the closer you get to your countdown, the more messages you get. And if you break the cycle in which it has set for you, so let's say, for instance, you're supposed to be in a car wreck and die, and you get out of that car, which is what Courtney did, all hell breaks loose. So there's no avoiding death unless somebody in that little line of deaths dies first. So we have Courtney, who gets out of her boyfriend's car because he's plastered, and just as the time runs out, Courtney is in her house. She's running. And she's hiding in her house, but something in her house, in her bathroom, kills her anyway. So just as her time runs out, her boyfriend gets in a car crash, and there's a big tree limb right where Courtney would have been. So it didn't matter if she was in the car or not. Death was going to get her. Then we go to a young girl who is working in a hospital, working her way up the chain. Actually, there is somebody in here that we may know. There's two. The guy that was in Twilight, what is his name? Peter Facinelli. He's in this, and he was also in that Space Supernova, among a ton of other things. And then PJ Byrne, he was in Final Destination 5. He was the guy who got his head mushed by the Buddha. But yeah, so there were actually a couple actors in here. And so the Peter Facinelli is like one of the head doctors or whatever at the hospital where this young girl works. And he's a real perv. He goes after all the girls and makes sexual content, whatever. So she's working in the hospital, and the boyfriend of Courtney, who is Evan, tells her about this countdown app. So she, like an idiot, she loads it. And sure enough, she's only got 2 days. So, she doesn't really believe it at first, but then she starts having these horrible flashbacks or things popping out at her and weird stuff going on. So then after Evan meets his fate, because his time ran out, and he avoided a surgery that he was supposed to be having that was supposed to kill him, once again, a ghoulie shows up and takes him out. She realizes that there's something to this. So they go to a phone store. She goes to a phone store to completely trade out the phone. and start anew, but that little app shows right back up with the same countdown. So, um, yeah, there's that. And the guy in the phone, he's hysterical. In the phone shop, he's just snarky as hell. And then she meets in that phone store, there's a black guy who's in line behind her, and when she flips out about the app, he's like, "What's with the app? What app is she talking about?" Well, sure enough, he did the same thing, and he's on the same timeline as her. So they work together to try to, longer story short, they work to try to find a way to stop it. Her little sister ended up downloading the app because she saw it on the sister's phone and was giving her older sister a hard time about doing it. She's on the same timeline as her sister to die in a couple days. They go to a priest. The Burns guy, he was hysterical. He tries to save them, and he kind of does for the most part. Yeah, they do this thing in salt, the pentagram or whatever it is on the floor. They're all in there. The three that have the timeline countdown going on, and then the priest, and then the young man, the black guy. His name is in the movie is Matt. He sees his little brother, and his little brother is dead, and he had this whole guilty story about a toy that he had taken from his little brother and never got to give it back. So this brother talks him out of the circle, and boom. He's drug out of the room by this huge, scary entity. So then our girl Quinn runs out to go try to save him, and then the sister runs out, and it's all broken. So there's nothing they can do. It's a battle to the end. It's got a fun little twist ending. Well, two. One, how the older sister and younger sister kind of fight for their lives, and the smart thing that the older sister did, and then what happens to the phone guy. So yeah, fun movie. I would give it it's rewatchable. I'll watch this again. So I'd give this a C+, B-, and it will make my shelf. Then the next movie I tried to watch was a horror pack limited edition of ClickBait, thinking, it could be along the same lines, but it wasn't. It's more of a spoof on horror movies. I love this girl. She was the friend of this girl. So we have a vlogger here who's fighting to maintain being the top. Her roommate, this one does all the videos for her, and she's really snarky and funny as hell. I loved her. Problem is, I couldn't get through it. I was not in the mood for this type of movie. I did enjoy both girls. I thought they were great. But I was wanting horror, and this to me wasn't horror at all. Now, I didn't get to the end of it, so it may get scary at the end, but it just seems that it's kidnapped. She gets kidnapped, and yeah, I don't know. I'll try to give this one another watch, but at this point, it's hanging on the shelf by a string. Is anybody else like that, where you have to be in a certain mindset to watch certain kind of movies, or do you just pop in whatever and you're good? Because when I want horror, I want horror. I very rarely want comedy, but when I want comedy, I want comedy. So, ClickBait may not make it. And then I watched number 31, which was Behind the Walls. This stars Vanessa Angel, who I remember from way back, like Baywatch days. And then pretty much nobody else really. Hutch Dano, Reggie Lee. I don't really know any of these people. So what we have is we have a mother with 3 kids, an adult son and 2 younger kids. And apparently her husband died. It took me a minute or two to get pulled into this one. So as it was kind of building up, I did not watch. I mean, I didn't pay real close attention, which is a bad trait of mine. But they move into this house, and the house falls in love with the people and does not want them to leave. So we have this weird red thing hanging in the basement. And at first, the only person who really knows a whole lot about this is the daughter. Um, and then little by little, the other ones start becoming affected by it. The young son does. It's Carrie and Derry. And then the older son, Michael, he starts having these weird nightmares. Mom starts having nightmares, and weird things start happening at the house. And then all hell breaks loose after the house kills a couple people who are trying to take the people out. And then they realize that it's the house. Something's weird with the house, and they need to get out of the house. Mainly it's Michael, the son, who's like, we gotta go. And so it's okay. I don't know. I don't know if I'll keep this one or not. If I keep it, much like with ClickBait, it'll probably just be because it's one of the limited editions. Although I did get rid of a couple of those, that rabbit thing. So yeah, Behind the Walls, not terrible. If you like kind of spooky house horror movies, this does have a monster in it towards the end. I mean, you see little clips of his claws here and there. But yeah, it's interesting. It's a fun little movie. I wasn't real thrilled with how it ended, but what are you gonna do? It's not a horrible ending. It's just kind of, why did they go through all that for that? But so yeah, that is my first watch Friday. You got 3 for the price of 1. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Bye.